mobile field force, and that's what they are. They're
Now you
mobile
guys are
field
in
force.
trouble
They're
because you guys
mobilized.
are constantly using excessive force against the public when they obviously do not have any weapons and they have no means to cause a disturbance other than to voice their opinion about what's going on and the injustices that you guys are doing. You guys want to sit here and talk about, oh, rioters this and looters that. Well, if that's the case, why are you guys at the protest? If they're peaceful, take your butts out of there and go deal with those other people. Why you guys?
Well, let me answer that. Was anybody here Friday or Saturday when we had the demonstration here Saturday? Were you here when the pickup truck pulled up and they yelled out BLM? No? So the protest was here, about 150 people, right? Standing out front. Everybody is expressing their concerns, got a microphone right out front. Somebody pulls up in a pickup truck at the red light and yells out, F you, basically, right? And then the person on stage said, colorful language back and said, we don't have to put up with that. And then the crowd started to move toward the street, 150 people migrating there, put up their hands, hey, don't. A couple people ran out. They were going to grab whoever it was, and rightfully so, out of the pickup truck. The point of the story is it goes both ways, right? Not everybody agrees with everything. So law enforcement is there to protect the people who are gathering too. Because you do have people who roll in and create problems on both sides. That's why law enforcement follows the crowds. It's not that they're keeping an eye on them. They're watching them, make sure there's no, drama and looting. We welcome peaceful, expression. But you got to worry about the 85-year-old cataracts too. If there was no law enforcement, it just comes down the road.
75-year-old white man who was pushed to the floor, cracked his head open because of an officer.
There's examples.
Yeah.
You know what? No, there's
The police
examples
don't
of
keep us
injustice.
safe at the protest. Don't try to put that badge on yourself. Don't.
So
Okay.
there are
Well, then
some
stand in the
people-
street, see what happens.
Just a moment.
We
There
do.
are people
We
Very
know.
good.
You hit us.
Very
You
good.
do bad things.
Very
And
good.
the discussions fully focus on, yes, broader topic of racial justice, but specifically because these people represent the city of Cerritos and the sheriff's station will, try to bring, like what you have and is completely valid for us to discuss about. It's a good thing for you to talk to him, one-on-one about it, and then, you guys can follow up that way too.
Let me put it overall here. If you, let's say, you come in contact with the deputy who provide this service to you, whether or not he changes his mind at midpoint, there's a system in which you can also ask for. Talk to the supervisor. I want to file a complaint against that. And that's why I'm here to review those complaints. Now, yes, there is a certain process in which you're talking about. You're asking the question that use of force. What do we do in the use of force situation? There are three set of criteria that we identify within the sheriff department. Okay, criteria 1, category 1. I call it compliance. When I grab somebody and that person, let's say, doesn't do anything and come along, no issue. That's reportable to the supervisor, but does it arise to a level of documentation in the internal affair type? No, it doesn't. So it will be documented in the police report. The criteria 1 where the person, let's say he resists and he get handcuffed because he wiggle a little, he gets handcuffed. No injury whatsoever. It is one of those that we have to document in the use of force packet. Okay, requires the documentation of the report itself, the supervisor review, and my review of the incident to see what led up to it during the incident and after the fact, and see what there is any policy issue, any training that we need to document. We will take care of that. The category number 2 is that when, let's say, we take somebody in custody and that person suffered minor injury. Minor injury could be just an abrasion, a contusion, as a result of handcuffing a little bit too tight around the wrist. That, to me, are complaint of pain. Okay, so those will be category 2. Stay within my purview of review, also as in category 1. Now, there's a last one, it's category 3. When you have a strike to the head, any part of the skeleton, or the person is dead, or seriously injured or hospitalized. Those incidents, internal affairs immediately roll out and handle that. It is no longer within my purview. My job is to report it. Internal affairs is a different entity. They have the team, they roll out, and they will document, oversee the overall investigation. Once that investigation is done, it's called fact findings only. It is submitted to a panel of 3 commanders. 3 commanders from different entities, not part of the original group, not the chief of our division. It's all from another part of the department. They review those, independent, also with concurrence of the county council, Office of Independent Review. They also then make the recommendation, and ultimately those recommendation is made, and it goes all the way up to the top to review. If the person violates the policy, then they either recommend for firing, or training, or discipline, days off, go up to 30 days off. And that will be the process that I would like to submit to you, and that's your question. I hope I answered the question.